Hi everyone, my name is Carol and welcome back to Mind, Body and Energy. Today we are diving into a topic that affects so many of us but is not talked about enough: social anxiety. If you have ever felt uneasy, self conscious, or overwhelmed in a social setting, know that you're not alone. Social anxiety is a common experience impacting millions worldwide. But what is social anxiety and why does it happen? Let's explore. Social anxiety is the fear of being judged, embarrassed, or negatively evaluated by others. It often leads to avoiding social interactions or feeling deeply uncomfortable in them. Avoiding social interaction is not really a good solution for long term. And for that, stay tuned till the end of the video, and I will be giving you a 21-day challenge. Okay. But till then, listen to this, understand what is happening, why is it happening, so that for the 21-day challenge, you feel a bit more equipped. All right. Them. But what's behind this anxiety? It is not more than just occasional nervousness in social situations. It can impact both mental and physical well being. Social anxiety symptoms may vary from person to person and range from mild discomfort to severe life limiting distress. If these symptoms interfere with daily life, seeking professional help such as therapy can be transformative step. Let's break it down with some interesting perspectives and understand the common symptoms of social anxiety. First of all, let's discuss about emotional symptoms, right? So there's intense fear of judgment, which basically means that you're constantly worrying about being embarrassed or rejected or judged by others. The second one would be excessive worry about events. Anxiety starts days or even weeks before a social interaction when you know about it. When you know that, okay, it's going to happen. So you just start to panic. You start to get stressed about it. The third one would be low self esteem, feeling inadequate or self critical about social setting or overly conscious of your flaws, right? Then the other symptom would be fear of physical symptoms. Basically, which means worrying that visible signs of anxiety like blushing or sweating or trembling will be noticed by others. So these are the emotional symptoms. Let's move on to behavioral symptoms. So avoidance of social situations, basically, which means is you don't go to it, you skip the events or gatherings or meetings to avoid feeling anxious, right? Second would be difficulty speaking in group. You would stay quiet when the conversation is happening. You're struggling to contribute to conversation or answer any question. You think too much before speaking, which basically is the third symptom, which is overthinking, especially after social gatherings. So, replaying conversations and imagining what went wrong and overthinking about it. The next symptom can be the reluctance to try new things, that I don't want to go. Who might be avoiding unfamiliar situations to prevent possible embarrassment, like we discussed before, avoiding the situation completely, right? Which would work in a short term, that yes, you are going to protect yourself from all the internalized feelings that you have for the situation, but it's not really good for long term situations, right? Let's discuss about the physical symptoms. So the sweating, like it came before, which is excessive perspiration. And the second thing is racing heartbeat, shaking or trembling, blushing, dry mouth, nausea, or stomach upset can be the physical symptoms. Let's discuss about the cognitive symptoms. So cognitive symptoms, we slightly mentioned it before. Negative self-talk is one of it, which basically means like, oh, I'll embarrass myself, or what will they think, and they would judge me, and am I speaking this correctly because I'll get judged. Um, One of the terms that we use is catastrophizing, which basically means expecting the worst case scenario in social setting, which also limits your expression. And when all these things are going in the head, of course, you'll have difficulty in concentration and being present in the conversation, and then ultimately again not being able to contribute in the conversation because there's already so many things and layers going on in your head about these situations. So these were some of the symptoms that comes to mind when it comes to anxiety. In my own life, I can definitely relate with social anxiety, what you're going through. I've definitely been through all of the symptoms, and it's tough. The last time I remember, or the first time I remember I felt that way, I was a bright child. Till sixth standard, I was in a day boarding school where we used to go to school at 8 a.m. and then we'll come back home around 5 p.m. I was a star child, star kid, all rounder, head girl. All the titles I have had there, I would score 90 plus. I was winning dance competitions, singing competition, debates. I was doing morning assemblies. I was choreographing dance. I was very active, Olympiads, whatnot, you name it, I was there. Everyone in the school knew. I was a very confident child, and so what happens was that in that school, till sixth standard, you had that amenity of day boarding. After sixth standard, you'd go to normal time school, which would be around, I believe, from what I remember, is from 7 a.m. till 2 p.m., I guess. So that itself was a shock. And I was a kid who was extremely social, right? On my birthdays, there would be like 30, 40 kids. I would personally go and living in India, first of all, you are living in places where in the societies there are 30, 40 kids you will easily find. And I was so extroverted, unfazed, that I would visit everyone, every flat, and make a self-made card inviting them for my birthdays, and easily there'll be 30, 40 kids on my birthdays, and it would be massive. I'd be dancing, I'd be loving the gifts and the compliments, and just having pure fun and good food. I was also a kid who used to, when we used to go to our hometown in a train, I would go and say hi to all the strange, like kids, strange, not strange, stranger. I mean, kids who are strangers. I don't know how to speak. So I would go there and I'll talk to them, and then they will come to my birth and we'll be like playing Antakshari and whatnot. I was very social. And innately, I am very social. But this transition from day boarding to normal school was when I first experienced social anxiety, is what I believe when I'm reflecting. So what happened was, there was, first of all, in day boarding, there was only one section, A, for every class. So first A, second A, third A, whatever, right? In normal school, in the primary wing, not primary, what do we call it? The high school, right? The high school had, for seventh class, they had sections till L or K. That's more than 11 sections, I believe. So around 10, 11 sections per class. So this school was huge. Every class had 50 students. Whilst my day boarding school had 25 kids in one class with only one section. So first of all, this school was humongous. This kids were so many, teachers were just one. All the fears started to come up. My grades flunk. I was confused. I used to think that I'll get lost in the school because it's so huge and there's so many people. So I believe that's how my social anxiety started. And like, I'm still working on it. In the school, dance became my escapism. Because like I said before that in that time period, for short time it would work to escape the situation, but for long term it's not really good. Dance became my escapism, and then of course, like dance, a lot of you know I have done masters in dance as well as masters in psychology. But it fortunately, dance became a good part of my life, and it was a skill that I invested in. But in real life, I do see people trying to escape situation, shunned in a room, or smoking up, or to help them socialize, or smoke or drink to socialize. So all those things are not really great, and even hiding yourself in a skill is not really good, because at the end of the day, you'll have to socialize. You are a social being. We will get into it. Like um, I'll give you this example. We will be doing a 21-day challenge, like I said before. Um, there is this guy that I was noticing in all the people. I'm a very reflective person, and I notice around what is happening and what's not happening. I noticed this guy who loves to talk to people, and I was just noticing what he does and how he does. I was not actively doing it, but when it happened, it sort of connected, because I was thinking about making about video about social anxiety, so it sort of made sense. And we went to eat litti choka, our group, and this guy just went on. It was very silent, like all there was like four of us, and there was this litti choka guy making litti choka very quietly. And suddenly this guy is like, "Oh, where are you from?" And all three of us looked at it like, "What is he saying?" But then I realized that's how he makes conversation. He's like, "Where are you from?" And that guy was like, "I'm from here." And he's like, "Oh, interesting." Blah blah blah. He could connect and he could take the conversation forward. And even though he got rejection when he said that he's from here, and that the person was like, "Oh, is it that?" He was like, "No." And he was like unfazed. He still continued the conversation casually and nothing happened. Worst case scenario, if I have social anxiety and I'm making conversation in my head, if the worst case scenario was that person not relating, I would have been scared and not made conversation at all. But here the worst case scenario happened. Like that person said no, but nothing happened. The earth didn't collapse. Um, that person would never meet that Liti Choka guy again. It was just and you know what? The other literature person also knew that it's a short, small conversation. It's a pleasantry that's being exchanged. Nothing too serious about it. Business is still being done. You're just making it pleasant. And that was a good example for me, which was like, it's not such a big deal, because the worst case scenario already happened and nothing happened, right? So that was one is an example that I wanted to share. Social anxiety is the fear of being judged, embarrassed, or negatively evaluated by others. It often leads to avoiding social interactions or feeling deeply uncomfortable in them. But what's behind this anxiety? Let's break it down with some interesting perspectives. So let's talk about evolutionary roots. So from an evolutionary standpoint, social anxiety is tied to survival. It is tied to our instincts to survive. In early human communities, we needed to be in a group in order to survive. We needed resources, we needed protection. So that is why we were highly it was important for us to think what others are thinking, to be accepted, to be a part of community, to survive, right? It has helped our ancestors, yes, but right now it's survival. Yes, it's not similar to what it was before, right? There's no big animals, there's no um, sudden catastrophe that can happen, which we might not be aware of, right? So now it might be, we might be overthinking about it in social situations, which is not required. Second is cognitive distortion. So, cognitive distortion is basically the flawed thinking. Basically, we are assuming the worst. For example, in that sales guy situation, um, it's like we assume the worst, what could happen, and whilst assuming, we can exaggerate it, that you'll reach to that limit where you just want to hide and feel more intimidated about others. Egocentric thinking, it's how I can explain is when you were being when especially it happens in this phase of teenagers, right? That phase of our life where we think that everyone's looking at us, everyone is thinking about us. Basically, it's for example, so I interestingly, having a social anxiety, I go to socials or I learn this dance form called salsa bachata ke zumba. It's a social dance. And it's something that I've noticed that it's like everyone has a partner in their dancing. And whilst dancing, you'll feel that everyone's watching you. And one day I was just standing outside because I came late to the class and I was seeing that it's not really like that. Everyone is focusing on their own steps. Everyone is equally confused. Even if they are not equally confused, nobody is judging others at that time because they're so focused on themselves. So if everyone is thinking about everyone thinking of them, is everyone thinking about everyone? In a way, yes, but not in a bad way because everyone is thinking of themselves, right? If it made sense. So that is what egocentric thinking is in with respect to social anxiety. Internalizing past experiences. So something that has happened in the past, we are still carrying it, still projecting it into this new situation. If you have been bullied before, if you have been criticized in the past, if you have been rejected in the past, that has not yet been healed and it's being projected onto new situations here. So that is what internalizing your past experience mean. Understanding why social anxiety happens is an important first step. When we know the reasons behind our feelings, we can start taking control. Up next, I'll share some practical strategies to help you feel more at ease in social settings. Let's dive in. Why social anxiety can feel worse today. Social media and online interactions often show idealized versions of people's lives, which can make us feel like we have to live up to unrealistic standards. This can make face to face interactions feel even more daunting because we might think, what if I don't measure up? But here's the good news, you don't have to, right? So let's talk about some of the techniques that can be implemented in social settings, right? The first thing is the grounding technique. It's like we would discuss before, the beingness or being present gets lost because of all these distortions happening in our head, all these patterns of thinking, which is not even true sometimes, goes on in our head, can be projection from past, can be projection right now because of the past things that we have dealt with. So, grounding yourself is a great way to calm yourself. In moments of anxiety, try focusing on something tangible, something material, right? Notice the texture, the color, the temperature, something that you can touch, something that you can feel. This simple act can help you bring yourself back to the present and ease you a bit. Next thing is positive self-talk. Now, it's related to cognitive behavioral therapy in a way, because what you think, how you think, gives you that domino effect of your behavior, your actions, and ultimately it becomes you, right? So the positive talk is equally important. Often, social anxiety feeds off negative thoughts like, I'll mess up or they will judge me. Try replacing those thoughts with affirmations like, I can do this. It's okay to just be myself. This can sound simple, but if it works wonders over time. It's a consistent practice. It's really about consistency here. I will share some affirmations in 21-day challenge as well, so stay tuned for that. From consistency, putting it into practice by doing small steps every day in real life interactions. Okay. You don't have to dive straight into gatherings, just practicing saying hello to one person or joining smaller or where there's a low pressure groups, right? Somewhere where you're sort of comfortable. There's a gentle way to build your confidence over time. Next thing is celebrate your small wins, right? You need to celebrate yourself. You need to reward yourself with all the hard work. It takes guts to come out of all the strains that were holding you back to be yourself, to enjoy yourself, and to enjoy everything around you, right? It can be small gifts that you can give yourself, or a small actions that you can give to yourself that will help you feel the pleasure of achieving something. Managing social anxiety is a journey, and it's okay to take it one step at a time. Remember, there's no rush and you are not alone. Promise, this is 21-day social anxiety challenge to build confidence in social settings. Each day you will practice a small, manageable action designed to help you feel more at ease in social settings. Take it step by step and remember to celebrate each win. So if you'd like to participate in if you'd like to participate in it, check the description below. There will be a link to a WhatsApp group. Join that group and I will be sending when the challenge is going to start. It will probably be starting on the 25th November of 2024. Okay, so join the group for the live communal activity of fighting social anxiety in a way, or building our confidence in social settings, right? And if you're from future, if you are someone who's coming when the challenge has ended, check the description below and there will be something for you that you can follow as well. But that will be only added in the description after the challenge has ended. All right, my loves, thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, go like, share, subscribe, share your experience, join that WhatsApp group, and I shall see you there. Bye bye. Take care.